Hello, everyone, and welcome to Stress Free IEP, the show where we help families build their village so they can raise their neurodivergent children with confidence, clarity, and support. I'm your host, Frances Schefter, special education attorney, advocate, and fellow parent walking this journey with you. Each week, we shine a light on the professional services and real world strategies that support your child both inside and outside of school. From navigating the IEP process to finding the right providers in your community, we're here to help you connect the dots and feel empowered every step of the way. Whether you're joining us live on Facebook or YouTube or listening later on your favorite podcast app, we're so glad you're here. Let's dive in and meet today's amazing guest. Thea Mullis is the founder of Camp on Tour and Camp Independence. She helps young adults with social, emotional learning, and cognitive differences build independence, confidence, life skills, and friendships. Through Camp on Tour, she leads neurodiverse travelers worldwide, combining cultural exploration with skill building in a fun, supportive environment. Camp Independence is her 9-month residential program that provides daily support and structure to help young adults grow toward independence. Thea, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
I know I'm so excited to have you because I know I've seen a lot of your ads and stuff for like, the trips for everyone. I'm like, "Ooh, wait, I want to go." But yeah, I'm clearly not your target audience.
Everybody wants to go, all the moms, and we say, okay, we'll pack you in the suitcase. Come on, get in.
All right. What is the age range that you work with for the traveling?
We're ages 14 to 29, but the majority of our young adults are going to be right out of high school. So that's 18, 19, 20, 21 age is like our biggest pocket, but we definitely do have a sprinkle on the below and a sprinkle on the high end too. Yeah.
So how does that work with like planning things? Because I would say a 14 and a 19-year-old are slightly different in what they want to do and
It depends, actually. It so depends. Sometimes I have a 24-year-old that becomes best friends with a 17-year-old. If their special interest is the same thing, let's say transportation, trains. We started these train trips that we did this year, and they went off without a hitch. They were amazing. But yeah, that's our main goal. So we're always trying to facilitate conversations and once we get two that have a special interest of the same, they never stop talking, which is what we want. So no, actually, age, as we go up in the age bracket, as long as we still have a peer group for them, is how it works. So we're kind of like Match.com for friendships. We laugh about that all the time. That we're really good at meeting these kiddos and being like, oh my gosh, I know a good friend for you. I know another one just very similar to you. You guys have similar interests. I think you guys would really hit it off. So yeah, that's kind of how it works.
that's fun. That's awesome. So what do the trips look like?
The trips are crazy. We are we are all over the place. So, for example, this summer we're going to Prague, Budapest, and Vienna for 2 weeks, Canada for 2 weeks, Italy and Switzerland for 2 weeks, and the last one is always a cruise. So it might be a few days somewhere. So this year we're going to Puerto Rico for 3 days, and then we're going to hop on a cruise from Puerto Rico. And I'm calling it the Saints cruise because almost every island we're stopping at is a saint: Saint Martin, Saint Kitts, Saint Lucia. So yeah, every summer is different though. We plan different destinations everywhere we go. But what the tours look like a day to day. We're staying in hotels. It's about three, typically two or three per room. Everybody has their own bed. Of course, nobody shares a bed. But of course they share the bathroom, and we're working on consideration, group living situations, etc., like that. Executive functioning skills. But yes, so typically a typical day on tour is we get up, maybe let's say breakfast is at 8:30. Everybody comes down to breakfast. They see the nurse to take any medications if they have morning medications. And then, we do reminders to go back up and grab whatever you need for the day. Let's say we're going zip lining in the morning. If we have a busy high adrenaline activity in the morning, let's say, kayaking or zip lining or some top golf, something of that nature. Then in the afternoon, it might be a more chill activity, something like a museum or a cultural experience wherever we may be. So Then in the afternoons, we typically have a rest hour at the hotel or so, and then we go out nearby to dinner at a nearby restaurant.
That is so awesome. What about like if a child is on the trip or young adult is on the trip and they're like, well, I don't want to do that activity.
Yeah, so we pretty much travel as a group together, but within the activities, there's always alternate activities. But so let's say we're all going to, do you know what a smash room is? We went to a smash room over winter break and it was so fun.
Yeah, the
But
rage
that can be
room.
a little intense for many of them. Many of them are really excited about it and to be able to smash things. Some of them are like, oh, that looks scary. So on activities like that, we always have an alternate activity. So that was a paint and splash room where you could take your paintbrush and splash on the canvas, or there was
Oh,
this also
fun.
this room you could splash paint, so that's a little more low key. So we try to cater to both, and most places we have kind of like two choices of activities. If you don't like zip lining, maybe you want to do the rock climbing wall or the low ropes course. So everywhere we go, we tend to have like a couple of different options, and decision making is a hard thing for a lot of these guys.
Oh, yeah.
So we try to coach them ahead of time. Hey guys, I need to know your choice for tomorrow. Do you want to do zip lining or do you want to do rock climbing? And a lot of times, everybody wants to do both. So sometimes they'll be able to half it, but we're working on our flexibility. We're working on trying to be considerate of others and turn taking, and you can't always be first in line. So that kind of stuff. But yeah, there's almost always an alternate activity. Now, let's say we're going to the beach and we have somebody that really does not like sand. That is okay. Typically, the beach is next to like a little town where we can have a group of them go, shopping in the souvenir stores, and avoid the beach, and that's okay while everybody else is playing in the water, whatever it is. We're always trying to accommodate as much as we can, but then sometimes you can't accommodate. And, this is the group activity. We're at the museum. You're not really into museums, but you know what? I want you to go around and look at the art and try to see if you can find something that interests you, because you never know. Sometimes you're pleasantly surprised. So these are the kind of conversations I'm having with my participants all the time.
Okay. And so how many participants and how many staffers do you have on the trips?
Great question. So we're a 5-to-1 ratio with a nurse on top of that to hold and dispense medications, as well as me. I'm there just to kind of herd the cats. Hey guys, we got to be on the bus in 10 minutes. Is everybody ready? Let's go. Let's go. I'm kind of, getting the group where we need to go on time, on time. um, we try our best, but yes. So we're 5-to-1 ratio, and then on every tour, we always have at least 20 plus on every single tour. This summer, we have a really big summer. We have about 30 plus on every tour, except for the Canada tour, we have almost 40. So it's a
Wow.
big summer this summer. Everybody's excited to travel. So yeah, we got a big thing going on.
That is so amazing. And where are you based out of? Like, how does that work with airfare?
So all of our flights for our international trips during the summer, well, all of our trips during the summer, all of our flights are in and out of a New York City airport typically. Now, with that being said, our first tour is actually going to Prague, Budapest, and Vienna, because this year is the World Soccer Cup. Soccer Cup. What is it called? I'm not into sports.
Neither am
The
I.
World Cup. The World Cup. Flights were really crazy in and out of New York City, so we actually did flights out of Philadelphia Airport for the first tour, which we've never done before. But we did these Amtrak trips this year, which were awesome. And so we're going to anybody from New York City. We are going to pick up on the Amtrak. They can meet us at Port Authority at Moynihan Hall, and we're going to go to Philadelphia before the flight. So they still have transportation from New York. It's still drop off and pick up in New York. But yes, typically our flights are in and out of a New York City airport. I personally live down in Florida, but for no other reason than the weather. I just like it down here.
I miss
And
it.
we started some supportive living houses down here in Florida as well, which there's just always something to do. Like, it's such beautiful weather during the
I
winter.
know.
We're not holed up inside. We can, go play mini golf one day. We do this thing down here called Social Sundays in our area. We're above Miami, but between Fort Lauderdale and Miami. It's called Hollywood, Florida. And
Yep,
so
I know
there's just
Hollywood.
always something to do. It's a beautiful
And you're
area.
so close, right? You're so close to get to anywhere like Palm Beach or,
Yes.
Miami, and like there's so much out there. Yeah, I miss that. I lived in Florida for 15 years.
Oh, did
So,
you? I don't know how you went back to that cold. I just can't hack it.
yeah. Well, my first winter back here was a very mild winter, and so
So
it
you
wasn't
eased
that.
into it.
Exactly, and I grew up here, so, like, kind of it was, and things weren't working out in Florida with the boss or the boyfriend at the time, and I'm like, "Okay, I need to restart. Where am I going?" And I don't know. Back home just made sense.
Sometimes life happens that way. You never know how it's going to unfold. But yeah,
Yeah,
so most of our trips are in and out of the New York City airport.
got it. But so if somebody, like, from California wants to go, they just have to get to the New York City to meet you usually?
Oh, absolutely. On every tour, I have a sprinkle of kids from Denver, Colorado, from Chicago, from San Diego, Los Angeles, or San Francisco. So, all those areas I have young adults. And then we've even had some expat kids before. So, kids that are from America, but they live abroad and maybe they're meeting us. So this summer we have somebody we're for our Italy and Switzerland trip. One is actually coming from Israel to meet us, and then one is actually coming from, I think, London. Yeah, yeah. So yes, we work that out. I mean, we're travel experts and travel planners, and we actually plan. We do something called it's kind of like classroom on tour. We take programs, but we specialize in neurodivergent because that's what we work with and that's what we know. But we plan trips for other schools and universities as well. So like Clemson University is in Spain right now on a trip that we planned. So they're on a 3-week study abroad.
Oh,
So
cool.
we're kind of all over the place doing a lot of things.
That's great. And so, like, neurodiverse is very diverse spectrum of, is there like a certain intellectual ability or diagnosis, or like, where does that fit in on being able to come on the tours?
Yes, absolutely. So, everybody that comes with us for their first time traveling with us, they have to do an intake with our camp social worker, and she will assess if they are a good fit for us or if maybe we want to recommend somewhere else. So, we want to make sure it's a good fit for them as well as it's a good fit for us. But
Mhm.
our young adults, I mean, we take groups of neurodiverse travelers with emotional, learning, cognitive differences, but primarily with social. So maybe they're chatty Cathy's like me and they talk too much, or maybe they have their head in a book and they're a loner and they're very quiet and meek, or they can fall somewhere in between. But yes, the majority of our participants definitely might fall into the categories of ASD level 1, might have just ADHD, uh, learning disabilities, things of that nature. But they are, independent enough that they can stay in a hotel room with 2 other participants. There's no staff that stays in the room with them. We do not have any one-on-ones. We are a 1-to-5 ratio. So that's what we're assessing when we when we gain a new participant and we're chatting with their families and chatting with them with our social worker.
Got it. Yeah, because I mean, it makes a big difference. So they need to be mainly independent, which, that's a whole spectrum in itself. But
Definitely still working on that independence for sure, because I mean that's kind of what we're all about is broadening our independence and working on that to become more and more. But yes, you're right.
yeah. I like that you say, like, being able to stay in the hotel room by themselves with peers, because that's important. Like, I think about in families, like when I was growing up, and that's what my parents, we would be in one and my parents would be in the other. And we would have adjoining rooms for a long time. But my dad got annoyed that we were running back and forth asking mom for things. So he put us on different floors. But then we were running back and forth in our robes on the different floors. And my dad's like,
Yes.
yeah, never mind. He didn't
Hey,
want
good
us.
on your dad though, trying to push that independence though for you guys. That's awesome.
Right,
And so
exactly.
so yeah, we're typically all on the same floor. So there'll be a staff member down the hallway or a couple rooms over, a staff room. So they know where our room is. They have our cell phone. They call us if they need anything. And we encourage, hey, do not text mom and say, Mom, where did you pack my socks when she's 1,000 miles away? You're gonna say, hey, Missy, I really can't find my socks. I've looked through my entire suitcase and every single zipper. Have you really? But
Right.
yes, that's what we're all about is trying to. We also try to do parent phone calls every 3 days. So you're not supposed to, they all have their cell phones and we want them to. But the the general rule is that if we are on a tour bus or we are on a tour, we have a docent showing us around a museum, your phone should be in your pocket. You should not be looking down, texting or playing a video game or whatever it is. When we're here to have a cultural experience, you need to be looking up and paying attention, but you can definitely have your phone during downtime. But we're trying to do we do parent phone calls typically every 3 days. And a lot of the kids, are having so much fun, they forget about their parents and they don't want to talk to them every 3 days. And I say, well, you at least need to text your mom some pictures of what you've been seeing. And they'll say, okay, I will.
That is so awesome. I love this. I just like thinking about how, like, when I was younger, I did pilgrimage. I think it was between junior and senior year, which
Yeah.
was, but it was like neurotypical. I mean, I would say there were some neurodiverse with us as well, but it was so empowering to like go travel and again, stay in the youth hostel, stay, in the hotels by ourselves with friends. And like, it's just such a different experience. I
It's such
love
a
that you,
different
yeah,
experience. I mean, kids all the time say, parents will say, "Oh, well, they've already been to Paris with us." Well, it's going to be a completely different experience going with a group
yeah,
of your peers than it is to go with mom and dad. You're nagging mom, "Oh, mama, I want a gelato. I want another gelato. I already had one today, but can I please have one more?" When you're with a group like that, you don't have mom to beg and nag for things, and mom or dad is not there to do everything for you. We want them to be with the peer group, and peer pressure actually is not a negative connotation with us. I like peer pressure. So, they show up and they see all the peers hugging us and was like, "Oh my gosh, we're so excited to go with you. We're so excited." So they come to the airport and maybe they're a bit homesick. And then they see all these other kids like just so comfortable saying, "Oh," and they come up to them and say, "Oh, yeah, last year I was really nervous and I was a little homesick. But you're going to love this experience." And they see the other kids, you know, being independent, making sure that they fill up their water bottle, making sure that they have their backpack for the day, etc. And so they're like, "Oh, okay, I want to be like them. I want to be like them. I can do this myself." So peer pressure works really well in our situation, viewing your peers doing things that you're perfectly capable of doing. You've just been enabled or, used mom or dad to do it all for you when you can do it yourself.
right. And I'm just thinking about like, fill up your water bottle, bring snacks with you, those things that we do as parents, like I, of course, tell my children to do it before we go out, but you know darn well they're not going to. And so they drink my water and I bring my backup water and I always have snacks, but like those are the things that it can be so empowering, I'm sure, for these kids that they, it's gotta be amazing. Like
Yeah, it's
the
great.
confidence
I have
building.
parents report all the time. I mean, it's not like I'm a miracle worker or anything, but I have parents report all the time. Little Joey came back from the trip, and usually, like, he sits on the couch and yells, "Mom, what's for dinner? Mom, I'm thirsty. Mom, can you get me water?" And he just gets up and goes and does it, and doesn't, ask for things anymore. And I'm like, "Oh, that's a great independent skill to learn because they were without you for 2 to 9 weeks. Sometimes they do the whole summer and they get out of that
Wow.
habit of asking for every little thing. Or the big thing is when we move hotels, typically we'll move hotels 3 or so times per 2 weeks or per trip within the 2 weeks, and them packing up their suitcase, getting everything together, making sure they don't forget their chargers. Now, do we have staff that come by and say, "Okay, do you guys have everything?" and looks around the room as a safety net? Yes, we do.
Of
But
course.
we're trying to give that independence. Like, if you forget it, you lost it, it's gone forever. Make sure you got your chargers, make sure you have everything. So yeah, the packing is the big thing, that they have to repack themselves, get all their stuff, get down to the bus. We even do laundry halfway through a trip typically, and typically there's laundry usually in the hotels that we stay at, but we want them to do their own laundry. A lot of them have never done their own laundry before because mom or dad has done it for them. So, we teach them to go to the laundry room. We do it a few at a time. Okay, this is the detergent. What part of the washing machine does it go into? Okay, here's the cycle. You need to set a timer on your phone or watch to come back in an hour, however long the cycle is, and flip it into the dryer. Fold up your clothes. You want to put them nice and neat in your suitcase. Make sure to put your dirty clothes in your dirty laundry bag. So there's all these executive functioning skills that are just built into the program. There's all these steps that you don't think about, but when you're traveling, they're just kind of built into learning.
Right. And you don't think about it like at home of, I know with my husband, we battle it often. He's like, "It's just easier to do it myself." And I'm like, "Okay, but then you can't go complain that they leave stuff all over the house because
Correct.
you're not telling them to do it." He's like, "But I just do it." I'm like, "Okay, but then again, you're not teaching them, and you yelling at them while you do it for them is not teaching them." Right?
Yes,
And
exactly. But in a different environment, we are learning that even with our supportive living houses here, that we don't do it for them. Hey, your room is a mess. I've been yelling at you for days. Come on, you got to clean up this room. I've been nagging you. I've been nagging you. But not doing it for them is such a hard impulse, because we could
yeah,
do it in 2 seconds, and it would take them 5 to 10 minutes. But not us ourselves controlling our impulses to not do it for them. So to let them learn, to let them get better with practice, and that's how they're going to get fast because we've been doing it for years and years. That's why we're quick at loading the dishwasher. But
right.
they've got to figure out, oh, it's like Tetris. You've got to load it like this so that everything fits, and it takes them a little while.
So you said something about, so are your tours are just over the summer?
Um, we have a lot of stuff going on. So during the summer is our big tours. Those are our 2 week tours. And then so we're doing 2 weeks, 2 weeks, 2 weeks, and then a 10-day trip at the end. Now during the year, we have our 9-month program down in Florida. So that's our 9-month supportive living program. And simultaneously, we also have our smaller trips. We have in South Florida, we have our social Sundays. Those are just from 11 to 3 every Sunday. We have a big group that gets together. We usually get together at the Independence House and we cook a meal together. We play some board games and then we go out. We load up in the 15-passenger van and another car to go out to an activity that we decide on. But we typically on every holiday weekend we're traveling. So we have a big group. This past weekend, we just got back last night from we went for Memorial Day to Boston via the Amtrak from New York Penn Station or Moynihan Station. So we stay in a hotel room. We went to Fenway Park to a Red Sox game. We went out to eat at a couple of restaurants. They love to do that. Obviously, we're working on budgeting skills at the restaurants, things like that. And then also facilitating conversations during meals is when the most of our conversations, happen when we're sitting at a table across from each other. So we really like sit down meals. We went to a Red Sox game. Oh, we went on a duck tour. So I try to combine like fun, cultural, throw a little bit of learning in there, and then just the skills that you're learning, that's disguised as the fun and the memories. They don't really realize they're gaining these skills. So yeah, we typically do a train trip on every single holiday weekend. So on Martin Luther King weekend, we did an Amtrak trip to Philadelphia. We went to some museums, saw a bunch of the sites. Stayed at a fun hotel, went to the Reading Market there. This weekend we went to Quincy Market. So you're learning and discovering these cities. Martin Luther King weekend, we went to Philadelphia. President's Day weekend, we went to Washington, D.C. on the Amtrak. And then Memorial Day weekend, we went to Boston on the Amtrak. And then we have other sometimes they're daycation trips in New York City. That might be a Broadway show and a Dave and Buster's for 5 or 6 hours. And then we also have our winter break trip every single year. That's typically December 27th or 28th through January 1st or January 2nd. Sometimes it's to Miami, to Tampa, to Orlando. Sometimes we go on a cruise. We try to make it tropical because it's in the middle of winter and everybody wants a little break from the weather up north. But yeah, so we have a lot of trips going on all the time.
Got it. And so your 9-month program, I want to switch over to that. Like, what does that look like? What are the kids doing? What do they do all day?
Sure. So we're providing daily support for young adults with social, cognitive, intellectual delays. The program fosters the development of daily living skills with an environment that promotes true independence. So, we're doing cooking classes where they're living on their own. These are houses. We have a girl's house and a boy's house. And they typically have 3 or 4 in there. And then a house parent doesn't live in the house, but they kind of live under the same roof. We have a studio attached to both of the houses. And so a typical day for them is that, well, every Sunday is social Sunday. So that's their fun social. We get to go out and have fun with all their other friends. But a typical day is we might volunteer. Some of them have volunteer opportunities. Some of them are trying to work on internships. Some of them are, well, we all go to the gym, but they don't have to like work out at the gym with the weights. If they want to play pickleball, if they want to play basketball, if they want to play tennis, if they want to go swimming in the pool, there's like a lap pool. It's a great YMCA here in South Florida, and we can do outdoor activities all the time. It has a great
Yeah.
walking track. It has a soccer field. So they don't have to like go and lift weights if that's not their thing. They just have to do something to be active. So a typical day is maybe we go volunteer with the cats at the animal shelter. We do that on Tuesdays and Fridays, and then after that we go to the gym. We come back to the house, and they typically make their own lunch and have a little bit of a break before they go to their next internship. Some of them have a childcare internship, so we go pick up some younger kids. They're 10 and 12 from school. One also is neurodivergent, and one is neurotypical. We take them to their house and keep them until their parents come home from work. So, that might be they have to, help them with their snack after school, nag them to do their homework like you have to do all kids. And then play with them, once they're done with their homework, come up with games, play activities, put together puzzles, etc. So those kids are actually off of school this week. So this week we're going to have them for a bunch more hours and do some fun activities this week. So we're going to a water park, all kinds of stuff. So, jobs can be fun, but we are trying to reiterate that, jobs are not always fun. Sometimes jobs are just a means to make money, to pay for things that you want. We typically do cooking classes. So they're on their own for lunch. We go to the grocery store and they get, maybe stuff to make a sandwich, maybe like a microwavable meal, like a lean cuisine, or something simple that they can make. For lunch, they're typically on their own with whatever they bought during grocery group. And then for dinner is when we typically do Monday through Thursday, sometimes Friday. Fridays are typically pizza nights. Monday through Thursday, we do cooking classes. So that's going to be following a recipe and a little bit more of an involved, dinner, but still fairly simple. So maybe it's making spaghetti bolognese, maybe it's making chicken quesadillas, maybe it's making like a tray bake. So we want them to learn some. We're actually just starting on some crock pot meals, which is a hit because it's like just dump and leave.
Jump it all in.
They really like those. But yeah, it's great. So we're keeping them busy. We also have a dog walking business called A Walk on the Spectrum. So for those that like animals, they have some dog walking clients around in the neighborhood. So yeah, we're keeping them busy with volunteer opportunities. We've got some volunteer opportunities coming up at our local. A couple of them are into theater, and so they're going to volunteer to be ushers and ticket takers at the local theater here. But we have some really cool Broadway shows, so they
Yeah.
should get to watch and peek in on some Broadway shows that are coming to town, which they're excited about. But we got a lot going on.
Yeah. Do you set up those jobs and the opportunities and the internships? So you set it all up. For the
Yeah,
most part.
mostly we set it all up. We are actually working with a couple of companies from vocational rehab. So they'll do a 12-week internship, and it's paid through the government, through Vogue Rehab. And yeah, so we've got some of those coming up, which is pretty exciting. They could get a job at or an internship at like Walgreens, and then after their 12-week internship, Walgreens can decide if they actually want to hire them, or if it's not that great of a fit, or they're just not looking to hire at the moment. That's okay. It's a resume building. We're resume building, and every opportunity is a great opportunity. We're very excited, but we obviously do try to match it with what their interests are. And then, we also have some fun stuff. Like one of the girls is taking a DJ class because she wants to be a DJ. And so I say, okay, well, you got to take some lessons, and then, maybe in the future you can be a DJ. But right now, I think you should take lessons and use it as a hobby, and then, get a job to pay for said hobby, or pay for said, future schooling, pay for those lessons, etc.
Awesome. And so for the 9-month program, is it just kind of like you do it once and that's it?
No, most of them are going to repeat it a couple to a few times. You can definitely repeat it, absolutely. It is from September 15th to June 15th with a break over winter break. And then there's optional add-ons to those train trips. If they want to come on those train trips, then they definitely can.
Got it. And so, I mean, I'm assuming you have from all over the country or
Yep.
internationally even potentially.
Yep. Right now we have from Manhattan, Virginia, Maryland, and Denver is coming through, I think. But yeah, they're from all over. And then we also have a few just from Florida that'll do our day program. So they live close by and they get dropped off and they come to do our day program.
And what about like if people are traveling, like if somebody, like let's say a family is coming down to Fort Lauderdale for a week for vacation, can their kids like drop in for a day?
Absolutely, we love that. They can absolutely drop in for a day. We actually had a participant come and visit from the other side of Florida, and he came and spent the night. He was friends with one of the boys from our travel. They met on travel some years ago. He came to visit, and then yeah, they can absolutely come to visit. I mean, we've had ones come that were vacationing down here from New Jersey, New York, etc. And they've come to a social Sunday because they know that we do fun activities and we have a big group on social Sunday. So, they're down here visiting grandma in Boca Raton. And so they say, oh, Tia, can so-and-so come and join you for your Sunday? Absolutely. Yeah. The more the merrier. We love it. So yeah.
And what's the age group for social Sundays?
Social Sundays, typically I have around the same age group. It's also 14 to 29 across all of our programs. Everything that we do is 14 to 29. But again, the majority of my, young adults are 18, 19, 20, 21 to 24. Like that's the big hub of my guys. But we definitely have a sprinkle on the upper side and a sprinkle on the lower side.
Got it. Okay. So 2 more years for my older one. When we go visit my mom in Boca. That's
Yes.
what I was thinking.
And then
Um,
for our winter break trip, especially, so like last year we had our winter break trip to Tampa, but we were driving in our 15 passenger van in another car from here in Hollywood. We drove up through Boca and picked up at Boomers and then kept going. So, we had a bunch that don't live down here, but they're visiting grandma in Boca for, Passover or Christmas or the holidays. And so they're here. And so they will come with us for 5 days or so, and then we'll bring them back. Or sometimes they fly back with the New York group. Maybe we pick them up in Boca, they come with us, and then they fly back with the New York group back home, and then their parents pick them up from there. So, I mean, we're a travel company. Anything that you need, we can we can make it happen. We got somebody going from somewhere to somewhere.
that is so awesome. Yeah, I mean, it just sounds like you really do make it like individualized almost for everybody. Like it's a group tour, but you tweak it to fit the family as needed.
Absolutely, and that's
Right.
what we're all about, being a neurodivergent travel company. When we're talking to programs about providing a study abroad trip for them, we say we're going to tailor it more for you because you're neurodivergent. We know what you need. Like a lot of these tours, they do bam, 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 bam. And, neurotypical kids can handle that stamina a lot of times. Our guys typically don't have that kind of stamina, that they're exhausted after a couple of activities during the day, going to lunch. It's a lot of mental stimulation and we're 24/7 social immersion. So they are overstimulated sometimes, and that's
Mhm.
okay. And so that's why we plan our trips. So like I said, if we have something more low key in the morning, like a museum, then we'll break up into small groups for our 1 to 5 or so lunch groups, and then we'll have a more exciting adrenaline activity like whitewater rafting or zip lining or whatever it is after lunch. So I try to make it like that. So have kind of two big activities for the day, and then maybe we go back to the hotel and have a rest hour. Now, my ADHD kids who are still bouncing off the walls and needing stimulation during that rest hour, we typically always have a counselor stationed at the pool and a counselor stationed in the lobby to run some games. It might be Uno or Happy Salmon, or we have all these games that we play. So if they still want to, they don't need that social break. They still need some entertaining. We have that. So, we customize these, but we also know what our
Yeah.
our forte is, what our what our niche needs. So that rest hour is really important for a lot of them. And then
Yeah.
to recharge your social battery and to go back out for dinner. And then sometimes after dinner we might do another activity. Maybe we're going to a rooftop. Maybe we're going to a rooftop restaurant that has mini golf. So sometimes, or an outdoor movie or something like that. So sometimes we do or maybe we're staying late at Disney to do the fireworks. So we had a late morning, but we're going to Disney, so we're going to have a late evening. And those that want to can watch the fireworks. Those that don't want to can go back to the hotel with a group. So yes, we're always offering multiple choices, and
Right.
but like I said, decision fatigue is a real thing. So we're trying to
Oh,
teach
yeah.
them to self-advocate. You have to tell us what you want. Do you want to stay for the fireworks, or do you want to go back and chill and rest at the hotel with the rest with that group? You need to decide. I don't know, Miss Thea. I don't know what I want to do. Well, me knowing you, I know that you like to be in bed by 9 p.m. So I think that you'd like to go back to the hotel. But if you want to try and stay for those fireworks, then that's okay. So we are always having these kind of conversations.
Got it. And what happens, like, because I know you said like emotional or ASD kids, like what happens if somebody gets dysregulated?
Oh, no worries. We're used to dealing with that. Typically, they just need a little bit of time away from the group. Maybe they just want to talk to an adult and be heard. Maybe they just need to take a walk, move their body, take a walk. Maybe they want to go to the gym with counselor Sarah, who's an OT. Maybe they so we give them some options and say, hey, I can see that you're feeling a little wound up right now. You're a bit agitated. What can we do to help? What usually helps you? Let's talk about your coping mechanisms. But usually we're given a cheat sheet by parents or by their
Right.
social coach that says humor works for them. Humor does not work for them. They're very literal and rigid. So we kind of know how to best guide them in suggestions of what might help them get re-regulated. Sometimes it's just taking a break from the
Yeah.
heat and going in the air conditioning and having a sweet treat or a cold drink. Sometimes it's as simple as that for all of us. We get
Right.
overwhelmed, we just need to take a break. That's it.
But you guys are all trained, know how to do that. Whereas like your typical tour group for young adults, they're not, and they don't know. And so, and they're, as
Right.
you said, go, 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 go. They don't have
Fast.
that, like, wait a minute, we need an hour a day to just decompress a little bit.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah,
yeah.
and all of our staff that travels with us on our tours are, mostly occupational therapist or speech therapist or a psychologist. Most of them work in the school system because they have the summers off and they want to come on a
Right.
trip. Um, but yes, they all work in the field anyway, so they work with neurodivergence every single day. So this is nothing new for them, and most of my staff have been with me for a really long time. I have a high retention rate on kiddos and travelers that travel with us. Once you travel with us, you're probably going to come back for many years. And then also on my staff, and then I also hire staff, so per trip I'm always thinking, okay, I need different personalities of staff, right? So I'm very bubbly, and my and Haley, who runs the company with me, she is very bubbly as well. So we need to hire some that balance us out, because super bubbly personalities are not going to work with our loners that are headed in the books that are, you know, oh, they're overwhelmed by us, you know?
Right.
So I hire different personalities for each trip based on that, because we all want every, kiddo or young adult to have a trusted adult to go to.
Yeah.
If they're feeling overwhelmed, to be comfortable enough to come to, Max, he's pretty low key and chill. Hey Max, could I talk to you? And yeah, hey, what's up? They're calm. Whereas I might be, yeah, sure. What do you want to talk about? How's it going?
And then
I
they're
can
like, never mind.
They're like, "Oh my gosh, I don't want to talk to you." So I don't want to be the contact for every single kiddo
Right.
and young adult. First of all, I become overwhelmed with all the questions and all the talking, but
Exactly.
that's what we do on purpose. We hire different personalities for to round out the trip, so that everybody feels like they have somebody that they can go to. And we tell them that on the first day. Hey guys, we want you to find an adult that whoever's personality that you like best, that is okay. We want you to feel that you can go to them, and those can be your point person. And then we also tried to break up our small groups based on that too. So small groups of 5 or 6 based on what their personalities are like, and who we think are going to get along best. and then also put the staff member with them that we think is going to work best with those personalities. So,
Awesome.
like I said, our ADHD, bubbly personalities are going to tend to go with Haley or I. Our more low key, chill needs, maybe a little emo, dresses in all black, or whatever it is. They might go to Nurse Jess or a Max or a Miguel, somebody more chill and reserved.
Right. No, that's so awesome. And so I know, like you said, they need to be able to stay at a hotel by themselves. If a parent's going, "Oh, wow, this sounds so great, but yeah, I don't know if my kid's ready." Is there some sort of like checklist they could do to know if they're ready, or what would that look like?
Typically it's the intake with our social worker or a video or a video call or meet and greet with me in person. So I can usually assess pretty quickly if they're going to fit in with us, if they're ready, or if they might need a couple more years of maturing. We're trying to help with all of that and give them the maturation that they need. But yes, if they're very homesick and attached to mom and won't let go of mom's arm, then maybe they're not ready. I mean, sometimes you can give them the loving push, and typically those are going to go on a more domestic trip first. Some of my
Mm.
younger guys that try for the first time, a lot of parents are, not comfortable sending them off to Europe, not knowing if they're going to, be okay. So maybe they would go more on our Canada trip or our cruise trip. To try it out first. And then once they come with us and they're successful and have a grand old time, typically parents will be like, oh, okay, next year you can choose whatever trip you want to go on with you want to go to Europe, you go to Europe, you have fun.
Right. They get it. That is so awesome. And so for our listeners, like what if they're like, "Oh my gosh, you're what I've been looking for." What's the best way to get in touch with you?
Yeah, just to go to our website, www.campontour.com, or to email us at theam@campontour.com, info@campontour.com, or yeah, my work cell phone. All the kids have my work cell phone. All the parents have my work cell phone. It's 202-701-3979.
Awesome. We will definitely put that in. This has been so awesome. I'm like so interested. I'm like, wait, my daughter's only 12. I'm just thinking she would love it because it's she's ASD. She needs that social sometimes and like
Yeah.
finding her finding her people that get her, right?
And that's
Always a
exactly what we're
challenge.
trying to create, or what we do create. I've been doing this for over 10 years. We're creating a community where you can come be your neurodivergent, quirky little selves, and it's celebrated. You don't feel like you have to mask the whole time. It's a place where you can feel comfortable and in your own skin, and celebrate our neurodivergent quirks. And that's what I always tell to the kiddos and young adults. Listen, there's 30 participants here. You're not going to be best friends with every single person here. We all have different personalities. Miss Thea's not best friends with everyone in life, but we have to be kind and we have to be understanding, and it is okay to, find your one or two couple of friends and hang out with them, but be welcoming and inviting to others. So, we have that conversation all the time that, some people's quirks might rub us the wrong way and we don't like
Right.
that. That is okay, but we're not going to be rude about it. We're going to just, prefer not to be best friends with that person, and that's okay.
Yeah, that is so awesome. Thank you so much for coming on the show and sharing all of this wisdom. I'm so excited for our listeners to hear what's out there, and hopefully they will jump on and give you a call.
Thank you for having me. Oh, I wanted to say I'd love to have you on our podcast too. I didn't mention, but we have a podcast called Brilliantly Wired. You can find it on Spotify for those listening.
Awesome. Thank you. We'll do a link to that also, and I would love to be on it. I will have Kevin reach out to get that scheduled. And thank you all for joining us on this episode of Stress Free IEP. We hope today's conversation gave you new tools, insights, or just a little more peace of mind as you support your neurodivergent child. Next week, we will have episode 146, Sue Lux, on why schools deny IEPs and what parents can do. Don't forget to subscribe so you never miss an episode. And if you found this episode helpful, please share it with someone in your village. You can always learn more and connect with me at schefterlaw.com or follow along on social media. Until next time, remember, you do not have to do it all alone.